So hi everybody watching, my name is Suzanne Tempel and I'm co-founder of the Phoenix Fellowship. And we have programs, international programs for spiritual development, personal development, mediumship and healing. And today joining me are Mia Ottoson and John Johnson. And Mia Ottoson is from Sweden. She's a certificate holder of the Spiritual National Union and she's an international medium. She's an accredited tutor at the Art of Findlay College and a lovely spirit artist. So welcome Mia. And also joining us is John Johnson. He is an accredited tutor at the Art of Findlay College. He's also an international working medium and he's an OSNU. So welcome John.
Hi, thank you.
So I'd like to start, Mia, for those who don't know you, to ask you a little bit about how you came into mediumship. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh God, when should I start? You want the short version or the long version? Well, it actually, I've been a soul searcher all my life, always looking for some meaning with the point of living, so to speak. And I was actually quite lucky because my ex-father-in-law, who's now in spirit, he actually brought me down to the Spiritual Association in Sweden, where I was living at the time. And I just realized that I found home. So I started my development there. And I met some beautiful teacher who was invited from the Art of Findlay College. And after a while, I realized that's where I have to go to get proper training, so to speak. To get the
so was that the first encounter with spiritualism or with spirit as such?
No, with spiritualism, so to speak. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even know what medium was. I was brought up in an atheist family. So for me, it was just, something was just turning around when I stepped in there. It was a whole new world open up to me. And I realized that was missing more or less in my life because I didn't know about it before that. I was just soul searching and didn't understand the purpose and meaning of life.
Yeah. And you never had any experience as a child as a medium or medium?
No, not really. Not really. I tried meditation. I had some fabulous experience with that, but I couldn't say that I understood it because no one was there to explain to me. So the only thing I remember, I'm terrified of the dark. I'm terrified, you know, and but otherwise, no, not really. I'm one of these who don't have seen the spirit when I'm a kid, don't spoke to my guides or anything, you know.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of mediums out there who have the same thing. So it's important for them to know that not everybody, you know, is after they're born, see spirit or hear spirit. So, yeah. So John, how's that for you?
Well, I was brought up also atheist, so the involvement of mediumship, especially like the religious part of things, was just non-existent. My grandmother was she's a very strong medium. She was a responsible medium because she was very good at fortune telling. And I get brought up, she never really talked to me about it. I was always tried to be taken away from or not to be influenced and catch the bug. So I was always tried to keep away from, my parents always tried to keep me away from my gran because they didn't want me picking up the problem. But as I was younger, I was, because I was hearing my grans talk to people and do things all the time, I was very curious about it. And when I got older, I sometimes would speak to my gran on the phone and I would say, so Gran, where's my next girlfriend? And, you know, what's the next thing when you do? And she would tell me all these things. And so for me, it was always a game. It was fascinating that she did this and she talked about dead people and all these things. And I never really took it serious because I didn't really believe it anyway. But as I got older, I actually was having experiences that I couldn't understand and couldn't make sense of. And then I started to then think I was going a bit crazy. So I then decided I needed to try and investigate it. And it was actually when I went traveling, I went to a gentleman who was a tarot card reader. And he was in the newspapers and he was all over for being really famous and popular. And I managed to have an appointment with him.
Was that in Scotland?
No, that was in Australia.
Oh.
And when he was doing the tarot card reading, he stopped, because I've got it on record, so it was on tape in those days. I sound really old. And he recorded it, and he stopped the recording and he said, "You should be giving me a reading." And I said, "What are you talking about?" So he started explaining to me about what he perceived with my sensitivity and intuition, blah, blah, blah. And I just thought he was bonkers. So he said to me, you know, you can do this, you can do that, you can try this. So I started to investigate it further. And then eventually I was having more and more experiences. And then that's when I ended up going to one of the spiritualist churches in Scotland. And I started to do practice there. And again, I just thought they were all crazy. And when I went, it was lots of, without being disrespectful, it was a lot of older ladies with purple rinse hair. And it was very much, you know, there was the older people, and it wasn't really many young people, or there wasn't many men. It was mostly ladies. So I had lots of mothers around me, which was really nice. And they were very supportive and very protective to try and encourage me to do more. And eventually that led to one of the tutors from the college came to the church. And then I really liked the teaching that they gave. And I said, where can I learn more? And they said, well, you could come to the college. And then that was the start of the whole process, really.
Right. So you were nurtured in the beginning of your mediumship. Was there any point where you thought, oh, I'm going to give up?
Yeah, many times. I think and sometimes it's very much the nature of the beast, because I think one of the biggest things about mediumship is it's so unpredictable that you feel finally you've got the answer, finally I understand it. And because of the nature of what we do, as soon as we think we understand it, it generally changes to something else. Yeah. So there was many times where I thought, well, I'm not good enough, or how do I deserve to be here? But also because of my skepticism, I was very curious to make sure that if I did do something, I did it to the level that wouldn't be able to be scrutinized so much.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit hard on myself in the early days as well, which I think many of us do as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. So Mia, how was that for you?
Oh gosh, at least in the beginning, about 4 or 5 times a year, I wanted to pack it up. Then it went down to twice a year. And I think that's the hardest part by developing, because for me, who've been looking for answers all my life, mediumship or whatever in this field, it was so important to me, because if I didn't have that, what would I have left to hang on to, you know? Eat, sleep, work, eat, sleep, work. So for me, I was so afraid I was not going to be good enough. And every time I did a sitting or a communication, I could never see anything that I did was right, but I remember all my wrongs. And, you know, and that was my focus point. And that destroyed so much beauty of the workings of what I'm doing. So I'm much better today. But it's been a tough road. Heavens and hells.
So what's the worst advice that you've been given?
The worst?
Yes.
My God, where should I start? You're never going to be a good medium. You don't have what it takes. Your energy is not strong enough. You're working with the cold energies, and
With the what? With
the cold energies. That was when I was doing healing. That's where I'm starting, and I got cold energy sometimes. And they said I'm working with the bad people, you know. You know, and I think people who are insecure, they like to use their own power to push the students down, which is for me horrific, and I can't stand it today. The tutor should be very uplifting and encouraging. I mean, constructive, yes, but uplifting and encouraging, because it really made me go home and cry so many times. And even between the lessons, I went out to the toilet and cry, and then I wiped my eyes and I went back out and put my smile on and pretended everything was fine. So it was tough.
Well, that's good to hear for many people, because most people think they are alone in this journey, and they are the ones, you know, doubting themselves, and everybody is that confident. But actually, that's not the case, is it?
Yeah, no, absolutely
No.
not.
So, is there anything you regret not doing?
No, I can't really say that, because everything have taught me to maybe be who I am today.
Mm.
And I think all the bad stuff I've been through my development has made me a better person towards how I treat my students. And I think I have a good understanding about the sensitivity within the person and what they're actually struggling with. So I think gentleness and kindness, you know, is much appreciated when you develop.
Absolutely. I, for one, can vouch for that, because I still am not very secure in my mediumship. So this will probably be a lifelong battle, but that's also very personal, I think. So, John, what's the main reason you started working as a medium?
Well, I don't really. It's to have another question. I don't really know whether it's something I really consciously said I want, because for me the curiosity of mediumship was the curiosity of understanding. It wasn't the curiosity to go and work as a medium. So all through my development, even when I started at the church, I started with healing. I spent a lot of time doing healing, and then from healing I went to the psychic work, and then into communication, and with the spirit world. And for me, there was never ever a desire or a want to become the medium, never mind the teacher or the tutor of mediumship. For me, the only thing I ever wanted in my own heart was to understand my own sensitivity, to understand the experiences I was having and put them into some kind of context, so that I knew that I wasn't going crazy. And the only thing I ever said was, if at any point I ever managed to be good enough to understand this, and if I'm ever any good at being able to do anything with this, then maybe just sometimes I might do a few private sittings now and again. That was the only thing I had in my head for maybe 6 years, 8 years. And I was actually going to the college, and the tutors at the college encouraging me to go to the tutor training, and you should be working, and you should be doing this, and you should be demonstrating, and you should be doing. And for me, I was always the reluctant medium, because I never really wanted to, I don't know whether it's step out your comfort, but I never had the drive to get out there and let the world see what I could do. And I've never had the drive to go and to sell myself across the world for it. It's always been more of a personal thing, where I want to be able to work in a way it feels right for me. So to do what I do now, I can't really say that it's obviously I chose to do it because I'm doing it, but I can't say that I consciously had the drive to choose to do it, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah. So what's the best advice that you have ever had in your whole development, in the whole period of development?
The best advice I've ever had. I think probably the simplest, which is normally enjoy the journey, because we're so quick to try and get from A to B and B to C and D. I mean, there are many people who do mediumship for a year, then they start to do sittings, and then they put themselves in an advanced group, and then they need to demonstrate, and then they need to teach, and then and the thing is that the process of mediumship, it takes time to unfold and develop. So for me, I think because of sometimes the pressure to get somewhere meant that you don't always enjoy the journey. And Mia was saying about really having pleasure in mediumship eventually. And I think that's the hardest lesson, but the best lesson I had was, take your time, enjoy the journey, because your mediumship and unfoldment can only go as fast as you're ready to go.
Yeah.
And I was trying to, when I look back the way, I remember one teacher that I met in Edinburgh had said, why are you in such a rush? And I said, me? I'm not in a rush. And I thought about it, and I thought, okay, because what I was actually doing was I was very eager to learn and understand. But the outside world perceived it as I was in a rush to get somewhere. So for me, the joy of the journey, taking it easy and enjoying the process. And as Mia said, we're very good at giving ourselves a hard time. And I think you say, Suzanne, yourself, and I've done it to myself, where we give ourselves such a hard time because we don't think we're getting there.
Yeah.
But it takes time, and it's like, even human evolution wise, it takes billions of years to get us where we are. A mediumship's not going to just happen in a year because we meditate every day. So I think enjoying the journey is probably the best thing I get told. I never understood it at the time, but the best thing I get told was enjoy the journey.
Good, lovely. So Mia, your course, you're the course organizer of the course Improve Your Mediumship in Your Private Sittings. So can you tell us a little bit about the course?
Yeah, it is a purpose with it, of course, and I know that a lot of mediums, especially here in Sweden, as soon as they got the pressure from the audience and people start to talk about them, that go to that person or that person, they don't like to do private readings anymore because of the pressure they put on themselves. And I know by my own experience the pressure I put on myself. You know, so the course is to make it easy, so to speak. And I think that's one of my biggest help, actually, because if something was easy, it wasn't worth anything. You know, it's like you have to complicate it, and it has to be something hard, and you have to get something you never got before. Otherwise, you don't think you're expanding yourself. And there's a lot of psychological factors there. So today when I work, I make it very easy for me. I make it as easy as I can because the work is hard enough. So that's why I want to focus on the private sitting so they can enjoy it, not, you know, they have to perform something, you know, they can enjoy the actual moment with the spirit, with the client, and realize they did the best they could. And also something was very important for me, it was that as soon as I get a no, that I don't understand, that's the only thing I remembered, you know, and I beat myself up for it. Today, I realized there are no no's. They don't exist. Because when I get a no, I just know that I'm learning something more. And I trust my intention, you know, and if I put my intention on my work there, the spirit will help me and they will be there for me. So it's about changing actually your mental state a little bit and be kind to yourself, and to also look at the procedure of how you can make it easy for you and not complicate it. So you're sitting there and being all over the place when you're working, because that's just going to give you trouble. And when you get insecure, you know, you're blocking yourself. So I want to help them to really find the joy there and to do a good reading without beating themselves up.
Nice. So who's the course for?
It's for everyone who actually want to develop their own mediumship more and to actually enjoy it more, or even to experiment with it, you know. I think everyone, I mean, some people say that when I started, and it's a saying going around that medium are not made, they're born, you know. And yes, maybe they are, you know, but if they are like me, they never have an experience when they're kid, you know, or they have forgotten about it. They think they don't have anything to work with. And they don't understand how much our own mind is a complement to the workings of the spirit. And I find the mechanics are quite important there to understand.
Yeah, good. Nice, thank you. John, last question. Why should people come to this course?
Well, I think because any course which offers professionalism to start with has got to be a benefit. I've worked with Mia many times, and I love her to bits. She's crazy Swedish, but in such a lovely way. And you can always guarantee that when Mia's in the room, you're going to have some fun, because that's what Mia does. As she says, she wants to create an atmosphere which is a joyful atmosphere. And I mean, the best thing to do about developing mediumship is to be with like-minded people. So I think the joy of this is also really bringing that together and sharing what Mia has to share what I have to share, and collectively bring it all together to make it like a really enjoyable, learning, challenging, but development kind of a week. So, I mean, it's I love working with Mia. I work with her quite often, and we always have a good laugh together. And it's always nice to have that time. So, as I said, it should be more about rather than the stress of development, it's the discovery and understanding, which can be fun, and it can be as hard as you like to make it. Yeah. So hopefully that's we're going to have some fun, aren't we, Mia?
Yes, we will. And that's also important for the students who's coming. Don't put the pressure on there that you're gonna, you know, become something and have a lot of demands on you. You're coming to have some fun and learning at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you both for this wonderful talk. I believe that it gives so much insight to new people or to people developing, that they think they have they're the ones having these problems or having these questions, and that they're the only one. So I think it's good to hear from people like you, you know, that they're not the only one. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For everybody watching, you can find the program with the course of Mia online on www.thephoenixfellowship.com. And so I want to thank you both. But before you go, I have just one more question. So what would be, and this is a question for both of you, what would be your advice to people who want to develop their mediumship?
Ladies first.
Shall I start? Like John actually mentioned before, to enjoying the journey, you know, because I think you can take 50 courses a year. You won't become a better medium. You have to start with your own personal development as well. And I think that's something we are missing a lot of time, you know, the journey of developing ourselves, understanding of ourselves, because the more you can come to terms with yourself, love the being you are, accepting who you are to start with, I think leadership comes automatically. And it's just such a joy if you don't put the pressure and the stress there.
Yeah, lovely. So this is also the reason why we have personal development within our program. Yeah. So John, your
yeah, I would say that be open for new ideas. Very often what happens is that we go to teaching and different teachers, and we gather ideas that we seem to think are the only way to do something. And what it does, it limits our mediumship. I often say that the importance for me is it's not challenging teachers, it's challenging teaching. Because we all have our own philosophies and ideas, and very often there's lots of similarities, but the way we express them and explain them may sound different to other people. So I think for me, if I was to become a student on this course, I would really be coming to see what's on offer and try to do what's being offered rather than come to prove what I already do. Yeah. Because you don't need to come to show us what you can do. You should come because you want to learn, is there another way or an easier way or a better way to do this? So I think being open to new ideas and concepts, and really, rather than seeing it as a challenge, it's like see it as a possibility of development, of awakening, a chance to develop something new or try something in a different way. And the worst thing that happens is that it doesn't work. Exactly. That's going to be the worst thing that's going to happen. And so enjoy it, be open for new ideas, and it's okay that you have a knowledge and understanding, but be open for something different perhaps.
Yeah. So lovely, thank you again both, and I'm already looking forward to the course, and I'm sure that many people and many students will love it. So thank you.
Thank you very much.